The Wally Show podcast is our daily radio show heard live through the WayFM app each morning and hosted by Wally, Gavin, and me, Betty Rock. For more fun, be sure to connect with us at wayfm.com/Wally.
The Wally Show podcast is brought to you by Colorado Christian University Online, where you can earn a degree online just like Betty Rock. You can learn more at ccu.edu/Wally. News-ish is one part news and one part ish.
This is what I use. I don't use my brain. I use my mouth.
It's right there in the title. It's The Wally Show.
Wally, in the house you grew up in, what did the landline phone look like?
Oh, it was on the wall, and it had a giant long cord that you could take through about 2 rooms of the house if you stretched it far enough.
But was it Harvest Gold or was it Avocado Green?
Avocado Green, yes.
Nice touch. I actually bought an Avocado Green landline phone at an antique store once, and I was so excited because this is years ago. I connected it to my parents' landline, and it actually rang.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It was just cute.
Sometimes the old technology is pretty great.
Yeah, I know this is no surprise, but I had a cat phone. Like, I had a phone that looked like a cat, and you just pick,
That makes sense. Do you remember the Princess phone? It
No.
was basically, they call it the Princess phone, but it was just a little one that went and sat inside the cradle. It looked like kind of like a banana, I guess.
Oh, no, I don't remember that at all. If you're one of those people that hangs on to everything, including your old landline phone, it's a good thing you did, because now there's a good chance some young kid would like to buy it off of you. That's because landline phones are now considered trendy with the younger generation.
Do you know why this is?
Why?
Because they just announced that they aren't going to do landlines anymore. Like, they're trying to get away from that. And so Gen Z is like, I want one now. I must have it, Daddy.
Daddy, please. They're pretty much saying that anything from the 90s or early 2000s is now becoming trendy. So the first the first iPod.
Oh, yeah, the old school.
They want the flip phones now and all this. Anyways,
so funny.
Back to landline phones. The kids were asked why this was so trendy now, and this is what they had to say. One girl said, quote, "They're cute and romantic. I like to twirl the cord as I talk."
I do too. Like, that's so great. I get it. That's why they're great. Sure, you can only go 8 feet from the phone base, but okay.
One kid said, "I got a," quote, "voicemail machine," and he meant answering machine. So I guess they even want your voicemail machines or answering machines.
The old little cassettes that those were on.
Yes, you had to rewind them every day. Yep. And then finally, one girl said, "It's a thrill to not know who's calling because it doesn't have a caller ID."
And it's funny because I grew up not knowing who was calling.
It's horrible.
And as a kid, I kind of got that. Like, ooh, with the phone rang, what's it going to be? And now it's like, I want to know. I want to know if it's a phone solicitor and I need to dodge you.
Yeah, because spam calls have gotten so ridiculous. And I'm telling you, this is the kids, the Gen Zers, haven't faced real life yet. And they haven't realized how much of a blessing caller ID is.
Oh, yes. I mean,
it can save you from a lot.
I give it 10 phone calls of 10 phone calls of like, it's a solicitor or that person you're trying to avoid.
Exactly.
And then they'll be like, this is ridiculous. I'm getting rid of this.
Well, and two, you had a daughter that at one point, her phone started ringing. It was a friend of hers. And she just looked at it and she was like, what do I do?
What do I do? She was like a monkey looking at a rock. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Do I beat it on the ground? I'm like, answer it. She's like, no, we text. I'm like, it's a phone call. You don't understand. I'm like, just answer the phone, you knucklehead.
That's why it's surprising to me that the younger generation actually wants to talk on the phone. Well, I thought they wanted text.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe that's a good thing. You know what? If that's the case and you're actually going to interact with people more than have your face buried in your phone, I'll take it as a win for sure. Uplifting WayFM, this is the Wally Show. And the other day, this guy, he used to be a kid, this guy named Mark from Irvine, emailed me. And the reason we call him Mark from Irvine is when I worked at Radio Disney a million years ago, he was just a little kid. And he would call in, and we gave everybody nicknames. And so now he's an adult that listens to WayFM, which is so cool. Like, I mean, we kind of reconnected and stuff. And so he was reminding me of a few bits that we used to do at Radio Disney. And I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, that's kind of cool. I'd forgotten about that. And then there's one I'm like, oh, you know what? We're going to do that one today. Kind of a throwback here today. We're going to do My Weekend Rocked Because. We used to do this at Radio Disney. And it makes sense here. It's very positive there, very positive here. When I did my mainstream show, it used to be My Weekend Stunk Because. So we're going to flip it up. Flip this script. Okay, so My Weekend Rocked Because. Very simple. Chance for you to brag about your weekend and how great it was. Because not everybody wants to to hear that in your life, but we do.
And the most unique reason as to why your weekend rocked, the better.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to start it off.
Please.
So my weekend, it rocked because over Saturday, I did not talk.
At all.
I took a vow of silence.
That is a great idea. Following Support Drive, which, by the way, was crazy successful. You killed it.
Yes.
We got to 102% of the goal.
Yes, thank you.
How does that happen in this economy, in this climate today? Thank you.
But when I got home, I had to go meet a friend after Support Drive on Friday, and then when I got home and I went to bed, and my head hit the pillow. I was like, I will not speak again until Sunday morning.
Even to the cats, or the cat's like, Mom, hey, Mom, watch me do this, Mom, you okay, Mom?
No, I took a vow of silence. I did not speak a word. No word came through my lips.
That's funny. I do understand that, because after Support Drive, we talk so much during that. After every song, we're talking and a lot, like sometimes 6-minute breaks. But like I get it, and so I though have a wife. And I cannot take a vow of silence. I would have liked to have, but I got questions when I got home.
How do these pants look?
Oh,
how was your day?
I'm on a vow of silence.
Supper?
See how that works. All right, so that was Betty's weekend and why it rocked. All you got to do is tell us yours. My weekend rocked because 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. We'll take yours now. And like Betty said, the more unusual, the better. What do you got?
Our church, Christ Fellowship, served this Saturday over 200 families impacted by disabilities in sharing the gospel through horses, arts, critters, and Bible.
Ooh, at first I thought horses, that's fun, but then you throw in critters, and now you got me. What kind of critters were there?
Oh, guinea pigs, chickens, roosters, bearded dragons.
Oh, those
more.
are creepy. Yeah, those I don't like reptiles at all. They scare me.
They're so sweet.
No, are you a reptile lady?
I wasn't until my daughter got the reptile.
They always got that one weird eye that looks all around. It's creepy. It's kind of like my Uncle Sal.
Oh, he's creepy.
I love that you guys as a church got to serve these families with special needs. That's awesome. I remember my daughter volunteered at a place like a horse farm that did riding lessons for kids with special needs, and loved that. She loved that part of it, but she was scared of horses. So that was kind of a problem.
Oh, the
I can
irony.
understand that. I'm not a horse person myself.
Yeah, she didn't last long, let's be honest.
And now for some good news.
Uplifting OAFM, this here's Wally Show. A little good news. Giddy up a round of a couple good news stories designed to make you feel a little bit better, because the real world and regular news can be a bit of a bummer. So, Lady Rock, what do you got?
All kids have that special relationship with either a stuffed animal or maybe a blankie. And for this 4-year-old, he had a special relationship with his stuffed animal that he left behind at a Holiday Inn Express.
No, my daughter has left an animal behind, and we've had to go back to get it. Yeah.
Well, I guess they didn't realize it until they were on the plane and already gone.
No.
But here's the good news. So employees at the Holiday Inn went the extra mile to get it back to the kid. But first they did a photo shoot and posed it in different spots like the gym and the front desk, which is precious.
The irony is the stuffed animal was probably working more than they were that day. But that's good. He got it back. All right. This is really cool. There was a school bus driver. He's named Larry. Larry the bus driver.
Good old Larry.
That checks out. Who noticed something was off with one of the kids who rides his bus. Normally this kid Levi, he said waves him in every day like, come on in, Larry. Like he's all excited. But he noticed him sitting down on the ground by himself. And he asked Levi what was wrong. And the first grader stepped on the bus. He looked at me and just started bawling. He said, face full of tears, he says, I don't have any pajamas. It was pajama day at school. And when you feel left out as a kid because you don't have something that the other kids have, it's sad, and it messes with you, man.
Yeah.
Even something as simple as that we as adults go, it's not a big deal. To kids, it's the world. But this is what I love, is Larry was like, all right, I can do something about this. So Larry finished his route. Then he went to Family Dollar, and he got Levi some PJs, took him to him at school. They call him to the front office. The kid, he said, lights up when he sees him and gets the PJs and runs back to class.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And it didn't take a lot from Larry to do it, but that is something that kid will forever remember.
Yeah.
That this adult took time to care about him even as a kid, and hopefully he pays that forward in his life as well. And that is your good news. Giddy up.
Wow, I feel good.
Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. If we were playing like a game show and you're like, what all these three songs have in common? And you could easily say, Support Drive! Because these are my favorite beds to play during Support Drive, because it means good things are happening and great things happen. Like if you just woke up, you're like, wait, I thought we were done. I thought you finished Friday.
Panic!
Yeah,
Panic.
exactly. You just start sweating. It's okay. Calm down a second. We're not in Support Drive again because we don't need to be, because you did it. You crushed Support Drive.
Crushed it.
102%. It just kept coming in. People kept rolling. People kept giving over the weekend. That is absolutely amazing.
And and we really do mean that when we say it is amazing, because we don't take it lightly to know that this station is run by you.
Yeah.
You saying like it matters, and I want.
Don't think you're my boss though. No.
Let me set the record straight. Thank you, Wally. But you see how it impacts your community and your family, and you could have sat it out.
Yeah.
But instead, you chose to get involved, and I think that is truly awesome.
And the thing I love too is we talk about a lot of times new people that give, because a lot of times people give that are already giving monthly, then they'll give towards a match or something extra. They're doing their part and then some. We had over 1,500 new people that have never supported the ministry
That is
before,
so awesome.
jumping in for the first time. That is a big deal for Your Way FM. Like, that matters. And so I really want to make sure that today we take a few minutes, because, you know, we're there asking, hey, we need help. And then sometimes we just start doing the show on Monday again, which I love. I mean, we get back to normal, but I always want to make sure that we, A, update you and let you know where we're at, and B, more importantly than that, is tell you thank you.
Yes.
You know, for being with us during Support Drive and hopefully continuing to enjoy us after Support Drive. So
Yes.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
102%. You guys crushed it.
It's easy to let the fear of the unknown keep us from doing something that is good for us, but going back to school might not be quite what you think.
Yeah, one of my biggest fears going back to school was I'd have to watch a ton of online lectures, and I kind of have a problem staying awake during stuff like that. But it was so different than I had imagined, and way better.
Yeah, for sure. I thought I was going to have to take a bunch of tests, which I am not a fan of, but instead I was able to write papers, which for me was way better.
Plus, you have the flexibility to work in school around your work and life schedule. Another big fear I had is, what if I don't understand something? What do I do?
Yeah, CCU, they foster community with your classmates, and they are a great resource. And Colorado Christian University has very responsive online professors who are there to help you, so you are never alone as an online student at CCU.
Learn more about how you can pursue your passion and find your calling with Colorado Christian University at ccu.edu. Colorado Christian University is a nonprofit impact partner committed to cultivating the mind without compromising the heart.
Who needs an expert opinion when Wally is an expert at sharing his?
That was really a productive segment, wasn't it?
It's news-ish on The Wally Show.
So it is President's Day. A lot of people have today off. We are here working because that is the American way. And
okay.
Yeah, it is. We're here. We're in here putting it in. But I came across this poll that asked Americans what qualities they look for in a president, which I think is very interesting, because I think we all have different tolerances when it comes to what we want in our politicians. Sadly, we have set the bar ridiculous. No, not we. They have set the bar ridiculously low for what we get to choose from. And like every time you see good people try to run, they never win. And you're like, why is this happening? What is wrong with us in our society? We just keep repeating the same nonsense, you know? And maybe it's the system is broken. I don't know. It's a soapbox for another day. But they asked what people look for in a president. We got a presidential election coming up. Going to be a pivotal one. Going to be contentious, cantankerous.
I'm not ready.
Two
I'll
old
never
guys
be ready.
slugging it out. It's going to be... If this is like a boxing match where it's a rematch, which is going to be amazing to sit back and just eat popcorn and watch, because it's going to be contentious. So anyway, what are we looking for in a president?
And do our nominees
fit the bill? Without getting specific on either party, this is just what people are looking for.
Okay.
They want a president who is honest. I think that would be great.
That would be great.
I think that is a really good thing.
Like you dig through their closet and you don't find any skeletons.
No, I
They're
know.
just a good human being.
Just an honest person. I don't know that exists in Washington.
Or if they messed up, that they were honest about it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. A little grace. We could do that.
Yeah.
We could do grace. They exhibit ethical leadership. That gets weird. Like both the candidates that we have right now have both had issues with this.
And do people have different requirements about what is considered ethical?
That's the thing. Like the barometer moves because everybody has a little bit. Well, I cheated on my taxes a little. Well, no, in my opinion, you cheated on your taxes.
Yeah.
But everybody has different values when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like for me, I always thought that the president of the United States, this is somebody everyone's supposed to look up to. Our kids are supposed to look up to. I always thought they should have a morality clause. I have a morality clause in my contract that if I break the morals that we say we live by, that I'm out, gone. And I'm fine with that. Like good, that's the way it should be. I've always thought that our politicians should have a morality clause. But the problem is defining that morality.
Yeah.
Because like to me, if you're going to cheat on, your spouse, maybe you'll skirt the issue on other things too. So I think I think it's a telltale sign of probably a character flaw. But then again, some people it's like, no, that's not a big deal because I just care about what you do with the finances. Right. You can't just have that.
Right.
Although I think it wouldn't be a bad thing. And they also want someone who sets a standard and promotes national unity. That's something I think we can all get behind. I think we want to be united, but I don't think the way we've set up our system, I think it's a pipe dream. I don't think we ever truly will be, one nation under God, unfortunately. But there you go.
Well, there's your little ray of sunshine.
I know.
Today.
Sorry about that. But you know what? We're looking for the right things. We just got to. We are. We're hopeful. That's it. We're hopeful.
We are hopeful.
Yes, we are hopeful that the right thing is going to happen. And maybe not this year. We'll see what happens. Like, it's going to be crazy. I can't wait. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. And Betty Rock is in a little bit of a quandary, has a little bit of a dilemma, and I don't think she likes my answer. So we usually like to roll this out to you. But Betty Rock, please share what it is that's going through your head.
So recently I got this brand new credit card from Amazon Prime. And the more money you spend on this credit card, the more points you get on your Amazon account.
And
Great.
You do love points, don't you?
Win-win.
And you love Amazon. Yeah, they saw you coming.
Win-win. Me and Jeff Bezos are the best. So I'm setting up my tithing on my church's website to put in this credit card, changing my credit card.
Because you could use a debit card to take it right out of your account, but why do you not do that?
Well, because I got to thinking, why would I do that if I could earn points?
Right.
On my tithe.
With your generosity and your tithe, absolutely.
To me, it's like I'm doing my part to give to God.
Right.
But I'm also getting a little something in return.
You know what? I think Ananias and Sapphira did the same thing, and then he struck them dead. But that's a whole other story. Different story for another time.
I don't know. Is it wrong?
I don't know. I don't think.
Or is it just being smart?
I don't think it's wrong if you then tithe on what you make on your Amazon points. Yeah. If you're making money off of the Lord, remember when Jesus flipped all those tables in the temple? It was at the money changer. So this is an issue for him. And so, like, if you tithe back on the money that you make, then my wife's so good at tithing. But like anytime I did anything extra outside of my salary, if I made extra money doing stuff, boom, tithe out of that. Like she didn't miss a thing. Like the Lord and her are tight. Like I think she's the Lord's accountant. And so I'm thankful for that though. But like I think that if you make money on that, maybe you tithe off of that and then you won't feel guilty.
The problem is I don't know what the money value is. I know the point value. Okay. But how do I know? Is it $1 per point?
No, that's a good idea. I think you could figure that out.
I don't know if I'd need to, though.
Yeah,
to me, I don't see anything wrong with it. To me, I see it as being, that's really smart.
A good steward of your money.
Exactly. Okay. You know how he gave the 10 coins to one guy and something about getting buried in it.
And the guy that did nothing, he called him a wicked servant. So, so you're not a wicked servant.
Right. I'm being smart.
All right. So Betty Rock feels a little weird about this. Is this maybe this is something that you do and you're like, no, it's totally cool. Why would I not do this? I'm being a good steward. Or should she have to tithe on what she makes, off of her greed?
No.
All right. 855-33-WAY-FM. Well, I'd love to get your opinion on this because obviously Betty and Rock and I are not on the same page. But maybe you can convince me even that it's just, that's being a good steward. So 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. We'll take your calls now. Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show. Jennifer, thank you for joining us. Betty Rock is being faithful and she's tithing, but she's putting it on her Amazon credit card because she gets points for that. I think she should have to tithe points to the Lord as well, but Betty Rock does not feel that way. So what do you think about this?
Well, Wally, I'm with you on this one. As soon as I was hearing that story, that's immediately what I thought.
Oh, that's good. It's so good to have good fellow believers, good Christians that listen.
What? Why do you think that, Jennifer?
Because it's in addition to what you're already getting. So it's kind of like at a job, you tithe your job because you're making an income. Well, you're making an income on that.
Yeah, it's a blessing, and so you want to return back to the Lord for that blessing.
Exactly. It's an addition.
But Jennifer is just one vote.
Okay, that's fine. Jennifer, I love your thoughts. I love where your head's at. We're going to do a little round here and see how Betty comes out. I don't think it's going to go well for her.
All right, good luck, Betty.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. All right, Mike, you're up. What do you think? Should Betty Rock have to tithe on the ill-gotten gains of her Amazon credit card?
I personally would think it would be wrong to tithe on a credit card.
But let's say, Mike, that I don't have a debit card, and this is the only card that I have. Then,
well, let's say that. Let's just make up stuff. Let's say that Earth doesn't revolve around the sun.
Listen, it's my situation.
Okay.
Let's say that it's the only card I have. Then should I tithe on it?
I mean, I guess if it's your only option, but it would be my last option.
And it's supposed to be your best. Is this your best, Rock? Is this your best, really?
Look at me. It's my best.
Yeah. All right, Catherine, you're up. What do you say about Betty Rock's tithing on her credit card to get points dilemma?
Okay, so I think that Jesus looks at the heart and the intent of the giver.
Okay, well, her intent is to get more points. Then she's making my point.
But who
Your
are
heart
you?
is found.
Wait a minute. Cast the first stone if you have never sinned, because who's to say that I'm spending my points on something that isn't focused on Jesus?
You will not.
You don't
I know you.
Judging is for the Lord.
Catherine, do you think when she gets her points back at the end on Amazon, she's going to buy anything remotely spiritual? No.
Well, you know what? You never know. And you know what? The Lord could just prompt her heart that somebody needs a devotional.
That's
or
right, Catherine.
There's some way that she can bless somebody, and she has these extra points, and now she can use them.
Ugh.
Maybe I'm raising up the points to buy a Bible for someone in need. You don't know that.
All right, Mother Teresa. I know you. I know that's not happening. Well, Catherine, we appreciate your thoughts and weighing in.
Okay, have a good one.
Going through this life, looking for angels.
Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show, and we are looking for angels. Calling all angels. We have a really cool thing that we're doing in conjunction with the movie Ordinary Angel, which stars Hilary Swank and Alan Ritchson. And it's a true story. It's based on a true story of this lady who was this broken mess, but she wanted to find purpose in her life, and she started helping out this family. And then Southeastern Christian Church is involved too in Indiana, like a really great church. And so it's a great movie. Like, I really enjoyed the movie. But we want to find people that are kind of doing what this lady did, and that's going above and beyond for you. You get to nominate somebody that's made a difference in your life and tell us about them. And here's the cool thing. Just for doing that, if you're our daily winner, you will win 4 tickets to go see the movie Ordinary Angel that is in theaters February 23rd, so Friday. And then also, here's the cool thing. If your person that you nominate as our grand prize winner, that person who helped you and was an angel for you is going to win a $2,500 Visa gift card.
Yeah.
So you can be an angel for them. It's just a thank you for doing what you do for me. So I love this.
Yeah, and we'll be calling you. Like, if you're the day winner, we're going to call you and get your story so you can share it on the air, which gets this person, your angel, a little bit more attention. But if you have someone that you would like to nominate, just text the word angel to 91979. You can also text angels. I checked that out.
Oh, good.
So it's
That
singular
works. Okay.
or plural.
Love it.
But, and also, too, and this might be my own personal struggle, but angel is spelled Gel.
Not Angle.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
With an E first.
Angles, you're going to get a whole different link to follow. I don't even know what it's going to take you to. Maybe a bad haircut. I don't know.
Right. But you want to send Angel, ANGEL, to 91979, or you can also go to wayfm.com and nominate someone there as well.
I really love that we're getting to highlight people that are doing good and didn't ask for anything in return. They just did good because that's who they are at their core. And this is a great way to honor people like that, because we definitely need more people like that in this world. And we also need to hear their stories, because we hear all the mess. And so that's why I love that we've partnered with the movie Ordinary Angels. Again, in theaters February 23rd. I loved the movie. I saw it. I thought it was great personally. And we'd love to highlight your Ordinary Angels. So again, Angel or Angels to 91979. Do not text the word angle. And I just messed it up because that's all somebody else heard was angle. So Angel to 91979. So we got our friend Andy Irwin on the show with us, and he's the guy behind the movie I Can Only Imagine. And now he has a new movie out called Ordinary Angels starring Hilary Swank, and she is great, by the way. And her passion for this film really comes through in her character, who's like this broken mess, but God still uses her to accomplish a miracle in the life of a desperate single father whose daughter is in need of a liver transplant. True story, by the way. Now, the one thing I love about you, Andy, is that your movies are not preachy. I would put this somewhere like you got Blindside at one end, and you've got War Room at the other. You guys are ahead of Blindside on the faith, but way under War Room, you know? But it's done in a way that's like accessible and not off-putting, and it's not heavy-handed.
I think it preaches as good as any of the films that we've done.
Because I know your heart is not to water down the gospel.
No. Our heart is to be strategic. This one was really about trying to understand this everyman kind of blue-collar guy that had a relationship with God but was just burnt out.
Yep.
And he felt like he'd lost faith in the church and lost faith in God really seeing him and being there for him. So it's kind of that skeptic that's outside the church walls that we want to reach.
Well, you do a great job of that, and it reached into my chest and punched me in the heart in the first 3 minutes. It's a great movie, and it will be in theaters February 23rd, and you can actually get tickets now at ordinaryangels.movie.
In a broken world, stories with humor, heart, or hope are a nice change of pace.
There are some things money can't buy.
It's News-ish on The Wally Show.
So there was a lady who was in a bad car wreck and was in a coma on life support for like 5 years. But
What?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Like, this is a Hallmark movie. But her mom stood by her side the whole time, and like out of nowhere, she just woke up one day, which is crazy. And her mom was telling her, this is how it happened. Her mom was telling her a joke like she had done a million times, and all of a sudden the lady's like, like, so it freaked out the mom. She's like, what? You don't respond to anything. And so then she goes and gets the nurses, and like they go through all this stuff. And it's funny because her mom recalled how the doctors, she said, they encouraged me like by day 1 or 2 to take her off life support. And she said, no, not as of today. We're not going to do that. And then they would kind of keep mentioning that. And she kept saying, no, it's in God's hand. She even said one respiratory nurse told me, well, you know it's going to get worse. And she goes, I told her, don't ever say that to me again and never say it in front of my daughter.
Ooh.
Yeah, hardcore.
Man.
So the woman continues, though, and she's there by her side, and she wakes up, and this woman continues to beat the odds because she's like, the mom's like, well, we need to get a speech therapist, you know, so she can learn to speak again. They're like, oh, she'll never speak again. Well, go figure, she's speaking again, you know? And it's
wow.
like, and it's crazy. And so, you know, and she's determined to walk again. She had to relearn everything. Imagine your muscles after 5 years of not moving.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was medically possible to be on life support. Wait a minute, are you making this up?
No, I'm not. No, I'm honest, truthful.
Because your face has that.
Well, no, because I was thinking, I always thinking ahead, and I was thinking like 5 years of inactivity and not being able to move. My legs fell asleep on the toilet the other day.
Oh my gosh. So you know how she feels.
Yeah, I do. I do. And no one stood by my side. I had to do it myself. I had to get up and do it myself.
Okay, let's move on.
But anywho, so
we're still going.
That's why I was smiling.
Okay.
So
well worth it.
What's really cool though is like, because she had 3 kids. She was 35 at the time. She had 3 kids, and they thought they had basically lost their mom, and she had a husband, and now the family is together, and she even got to go to her son's senior football game, which he was, quietly hoping and praying for never thinking it would be a reality. But then it turns out, and she was there. Like, it's a great full circle story.
It's a beautiful Hallmark movie. Just take out Wally's comment.
Yeah, forget what I said about my legs falling asleep. But I love what one of the doctors said. He pointed out that, while this daughter is a medical miracle, it's also a story about a mother's love and how she never gave up on her daughter even when everyone else did. So there you go. That's a win-win.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was
a cautionary tale. It's a cautionary tale about
don't sit too long,
letting your legs fall asleep on the toilet. So I don't want anyone to get hurt. If you take away from this today, you're like, you know what? You'll think about it later. I promise you will. Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show. We're going to do a little TikTok theology. I know there's a lot of garbage on TikTok, but there's also some really cool stuff. Like this theologian who is a little bit older, well, a lot older, but he goes around to college campuses and talks to students and talks to them about their tough faith questions, like this little doozy.
I'm curious why we pray, because you pray for safe traveling, or you pray for good grades or for health. God already knows if you're going to get into an accident or not,
That's a great question that a lot of adults wrestle with.
Well, adults, that's you. You've said that before. That's like a little Gen Z girl.
I know.
Speaking as you.
Yeah, traveling mercies during prayer request time.
Crazy.
It does. And so I like this guy's response to her, though.
In our culture, too frequently, prayer is a way to hit the button to get the cosmic bellboy to fetch my bags. That's not real prayer. The first purpose of prayer is to get to know God. Hopefully what I'm learning in prayer is to learn to align my will with God's will. That's Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me, yet not my will, but your will be done. Prayer is not a technique to learn to get what I want. There's no magical way to pray so that your dying mother gets healed. There's no magical prayer to pray that you get a job. See, according to Christ, the purpose of life is to know God, to love and worship God, and then to love and serve people. So the first purpose of prayer is to get to know God.
See, and this kind of aligns more with a lot of the ways that I view prayer. I do think we should pray for specifics, yes, because it tells us that in the Bible. But I think we have to be okay with things not going the way that we want them to go, and try not to make God this cosmic vending machine. God would be a terrible product. Like the reviews, if he were a product, would be, from our perspective, God product works, but works sporadically. It seems to have a mind of its own. God product failed to meet my expectations. After repeated attempts, God product did not produce desired promised results. The problem is that from all of our perspective, believing that, God is in heaven and he's there to serve us, that makes him a bad product because we have the failed or the perspective that is askew,
right?
And he has the bigger picture where he sees the things that we don't see, and so I view prayer like this, Lord, give me peace and strength to bear what's coming, whatever that is, because that's the promise you give me, is that you're going to give me peace when I lack understanding. And, if we could do this some other way, I would love that. That'd be awesome. Right? But then that's what Jesus asked,
Well, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like when he was about to go and die on the cross, he said, let this cup pass from me, but if not, let your will be done. And I think a lot of us could learn a lot from that.
Because I think, when you talk to your friends, and you want companionship or you want them to commiserate with you, you just tell them your problems. And that they're not there necessarily to solve your problems, but you're building that relationship. That's kind of how I view prayer. It's not, God is not always going to solve all problems. Now, does he on certain things? Does he intervene? Absolutely. When that happens, I have no idea. But I think it's about building that relationship with him and having that direct communication with God on a daily basis that helps you weather some of that hard stuff. But I am curious, okay? Because again, sometimes praying for something for a long time can be very frustrating. There are prayers that I've been praying for years, and I've run out of ways to pray for them, it feels like. And so then I start skipping it. And then I'm like, I got to get back into that prayer, and stuff. So I'm real curious, what is the longest time you've prayed for something And did you see it finally get answered, or was it like it's still in the midst? So I'd love to hear your conversations on this. This might actually be something that really lands with somebody today as well. So like somebody who's ready to give up on prayer. 855-33-WAY-FM. I was still in support drive. 855-33-WAY-FM. And we'll take your thoughts on this now. What's the longest you ever prayed for something?
Almost 20 years.
20 years?
It was getting married.
Oh, really? So you wanted to get married. You prayed for 20 years for this. And did it finally happen or no?
It did, and it happened in my latter portion of my years. But I had a moment, though, because I started to think, you can pray for something and pray for something, but again, like you said, if that's not in God's will, and you finally just want to be aligned with what God's will and what he has for your life. I literally remember the day. At that time, I was staying in Georgia where they do river tubing. So I was at that water, and I told God, I was like, if this is not for me, as hard as it's going to be, as many people as I've seen get married, and I was happy for them, genuinely happy, just take that desire from me so that I can focus on your will. And I feel like at that moment when I begin to release and let go, that's when things really started to fall into place.
And just then a river rafting instructor floated down the thing, ran into you. You guys came up from the water and looked into each other's eyes, and it was love. Is that what happened?
Not necessarily.
I do think a lot of times when you release that, and you're like, Lord, okay, this is what I've been wanting, but let me focus on what you want. Sometimes that thing we wanted actually ends up happening, and other times it doesn't, but you're still okay because you're like, I want to be in the center of your will, whatever that looks like, God. So I appreciate your thoughts on this today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Have you prayed for something for a long time and maybe not seen the answer yet?
Yeah, several members of my family have been battling various forms of addiction, and I've been just praying that God would break those chains of addiction. I've seen him do it for other people, and I'm like, okay, I know you can do this, but unfortunately we lost my stepsister and her husband together due to overdose year before last, and my stepmom and my stepbrother are still battling addiction, and I'm just continuing to pray.
What's kept you from giving up? You can pray for a lot of years, and I think some people do finally just get tired and like, well, I guess this is hopeless, and they stop praying for it. So what's kept you in it?
I learned something from my friend that battled and lost her fight with breast cancer, and even though she knew she was terminal, she said that even if her trials brought one person to God, she was happy to go through it. And so I just keep thinking that in that same way, maybe their struggle will touch someone else.
So it gives you hope to keep praying that there will be something good that ultimately comes from this.
Absolutely.
You just need to believe. Clap your hands if you believe. Everything is going to be okay. Are you ready for a miracle?
Uplifting WAY-FM. This is the Wally Show. And man, I just want to give you a heads up and a heartfelt thank you for everybody that got involved during our support drive last week. Don't worry, we're not doing it today. You're like, I hear that song, I know what that means. No, this is legit just a, hey, thank you if you got involved for making a difference with your WAY-FM. I heard we had over 1,500 new people that have never supported the ministry before joining the old dysfunctional family, so thank you.
And I saw, too, where some people that were giving for the very first time, they were giving because they found us through a billboard. They saw us on a billboard, and the thing is those billboards, those things aren't free, but we're able to make it happen. We're able to spread WAY-FM to other people to be able to find it because of you stepping in and making sure the funds are met.
And it was so cool, man. Like the stories, everyone sharing their stories. We read so many or played so many throughout the day. And one of the coolest moments was this guy, Jason, and his daughter, Natalie, who gave a huge match to inspire people to give. And they did it in honor of his wife and her mom that they lost. And just them telling their story. It was amazing to watch the outpouring of love for them. It's kind of like when you see GoFundMes happen, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. I can't believe they raised that much money. These people put up this gift, and it became almost like a GoFundMe, and it produced so much more than I think any of us were thinking. And I love that. I just love seeing people honor the hearts of people that want to do something beyond themselves and do something that's good for other people. And that's what they did, and that's what a whole bunch of other people did. So, again, this is legit just thank you. I mean, you hear when we ask for the need, we tell you, hey, here's the need. Can you get involved? Blah, 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 blah. And then we get back into the regular swing of things, and I don't ever want it to go without being said, thank you, you know, and so that's it, man. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else.
So thank you
Not
for
a pitch.
supporting your Way FM.
Exactly.
Your listeners supported Way FM because we know you could just, turn the dial and listen to something else, but instead you chose to get involved. So thank you. Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.
Uplifting Way FM. If it's trending, streaming, or starring, Betty Rock's got it on The Rock Report.
Nothing makes the dad of a daughter more nervous than her moving out from under his roof and out into the big, wide open world.
That's very true. It's a scary thing, and knowing you have not fully prepared her.
And that you maybe kind of spoiled her.
Yes.
And she thinks everybody's just going to do whatever she asks.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, action movie star Sylvester Stallone knows this all too well. He played Rocky, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The Italian stallion, Sylvester Stallone.
Well, now I think he's 77. Anyway, he's got two daughters. Well, he's got 3 daughters, but the 2 oldest ones, they're 27 and 25. They let him know that, hey, we're moving to New York City. Well, there's nothing he can do about it.
That's right.
I mean, he can't stop them. And since he couldn't stop them from making the move, he asked them to do just one thing for him. And you might be asking, what is that one thing? He wanted them to take self-defense classes before packing up. But it wasn't just any self-defense class, okay? It was a class run by Navy SEALs.
I like it. I like where you're going with this.
He was prepared, and I don't blame him. You know, you say New York City, you don't think of just the nice people on the street.
Because even if you're living in New York City wealthy, things can happen.
Yeah.
And so you need to be prepared. You're in a weird situation. And so he's trying to prepare his daughters for the real world. And I think that's good because they were probably bubbled and insulated.
Oh, for sure. But it is crazy that he asked for them to take a Navy SEALs class. I mean, you can just... As women, we can go to a self-defense class, at your local YMCA or whatever, but he's like, no, you got to go with the Navy SEALs.
And this is why. Like, I watch a lot of TikTok, all right? And so there's this lady.
So you know everything.
There's a lady on TikTok with a karate school, okay? And people are, like, taking her to task because these guys come up and she goes, hi-ya, and just flips them. And they're diving, like, oh, this is your karate self-defense. 100%. She's not doing any of that, And so it's a false sense of security. You go to a Navy SEAL, they're going to teach you how to end someone, if you have to. And so, and how to really do it.
Right. Well, I tried to find out, what are some of the classes or what are some of the things you'll learn in these classes?
Eye gouging 101.
Maybe. I don't know. I couldn't find anything. Maybe because it's under protection.
Top secret.
Yeah, who knows? But we do know that it involved Sylvester Stallone's girls being taken out into the woods.
Nice.
And learning for 6 hours straight.
Okay. All right. That's good. Good for them. Good for them. I learned how to break out of zip ties. I haven't mastered it yet, though, but I watched a video. So one day.
It was a TikTok video.
Yeah,
everything comes back to TikTok.
I know. One day I'll get out of these zip ties. But for now, I just have to keep pushing buttons with my hands tied. So there you go. I want a self-offense class. That's what I'm looking for. You heard of self-defense. I want something that I can go on the offensive. I want a self-offense class.
No, that's a bad
Because then I'm not
idea.
just defending things. I'm like, okay, defend. Now you're in trouble, sir.
Now I'm coming after you.
That's right. You better run. You better learn how to run. I hope you took a self-defense class because you're going to need it now. That's the kind of classes I think we need in this day and age.
Wow.
There's a kind of love that God only knows what you've been through.
Uplifting Away FM. This is The Wally Show. That, of course, is the one and only Dolly Parton with For King and Country doing their song God Only Knows. She also did something with Zach Williams. And it was crazy. I think both those songs came out the same year, too. It was like, that's a lot of Dolly.
She's a busy woman.
Yes, she is. You know what? Everyone likes Dolly. You know, people who don't like country music still like Dolly because I think Dolly is really good at putting people first, you know, and that's been her whole reputation.
And she has Dollywood. And have you tried that cinnamon bread?
I love me some Dollywood. I'm not afraid to spend some time there. But here's the deal. She had a birthday party at the Grand Ole Opry, and there was a young country star named Elle King, kind of a rising country star. And Elle was not at her best this night. She had had a little too much of the adult beverage and was on stage and just was potty mouth, just not her best self.
It was not good because a lot of people, like tourists, show up to the Grand Ole Opry. They want to celebrate Dolly, and then she comes out there, this woman, and she drops some bombs.
Yeah, and you know, and she apologized to her band like as they were escorting her off stage. It was like everybody thought this was gonna be a great night.
Yeah.
And then she kind of tainted it a little bit. But here's why people love Dolly, okay? Dolly Parton doesn't have any ill will towards Elle. She said, you know what? Elle is a really great artist. She's a great girl. She's been through a lot of hard things lately, and she just had a little too much tonight, you know? And so Dolly is being forgiving of her where she could be upset by it or she could throw an arrow, and she chose not to. And she said, let's just forgive that and forget it and move on. And I'm that's why you love Dolly.
I know.
You know?
Bless her. Because some people may not even comment about it,
right.
And then you're just thinking, oh, they're like got a deep-seated hatred for this person. They're not even commenting on it, but she commented on it, but in a positive light.
And the lady who messed up, Elle, hasn't even commented on it, you know, and because she knew she messed up.
Yeah.
And so Dolly is extending grace where maybe she wouldn't have to by other people's, you know, set of rules kind of thing. And so, but again, this is why I think people love Dolly. So here's what I want to talk about with you. What is something that you have had to forgive from somebody else in your life? Or if you're really brave, what's something you had to be forgiven for? Like, were you Dolly or were you Elle? I'm just curious. Where did you fall in the spectrum of big time forgiveness of this? Okay. So either you had to forgive it or you had to be forgiven for it. That's what we want to talk about with you right now. Either way, 855-33-WAY-FM. If you want to be on the show with us, we love having you on, and we'll take your stories right now. 855-33-WAY-FM. Have you been a Dolly and needed to forgive somebody, or have you been an Elle and needed forgiveness from somebody, Kim?
I've been both.
I think we all have.
So one of the things that I had to really forgive, and it took a long time, I'm not going to say it happened overnight. I had handicapped siblings. I was the youngest, and my parents were alcoholics. So it fell on me a lot to help take care of them, and I resented that for a long time. But God reminded me that I don't know what my mother went through or my father went through.
Yeah, I think that is key for forgiveness, is actually learning to have empathy for someone and what maybe they've been through outside of what they've done to you.
And just as Joseph said to his brothers, God used it for his glory. God takes things that the world means for bad and makes them good.
That's a real healthy perspective, I think, for anybody going through something, you know, because, the world just works that way. There's a lot of bad, you know, and we always wonder, well, where's God in the middle of this? And it's just the world working the way it does. But God can redeem those things. He might not always stop them, you know, but he does redeem them and use them for good. I'm glad you got to that place, because it would be easy to live an entire life resenting, you know, your parents for kind of maybe having you lose part of your childhood.
Well, and I did for a long time, but I'm also thankful because in their older years, they were not alcoholics anymore and turned their lives over. So that was a blessing to be able to see that part of it.
Oh, that's really cool. I'm so glad you got that. Well, Kim, I appreciate you being on the show with us today. Thank you.
You have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye. Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show, and we are looking for angels, ordinary angels, those angels that have their wings maybe a little hidden behind them because they're just so busy doing good things for other people. There's a movie out, coming out on the 23rd with Hilary Swank and Alan Richardson called Ordinary Angels, and it's about this lady who, even in the middle of her mess, chooses to do something that matters. She wants to have purpose, and she kind of throws herself headlong into helping out this single dad who's lost his mom and then his daughter's sick. It's a great story based on a true story. I love the movie personally. And so we thought it would be fun to find some ordinary angels. And Wendy submitted a angel to us. Says, Danny is one of the best people I've ever met. He helps run an organization called Heart of the City, Louisville, which is near Dallas, which he helped thousands of families with food and clothing. I'm a single mom, and life has not been kind to us these past few years. The engine in my car blew up. I have 2 jobs, and I can't be without a car. Danny got with our Sunday school class, and they donated over $1,800 to get me into a car.
Wow.
This is just one example of why he is one of my favorite people in the world. His family are wonderful, and I can think of nobody that is more deserving.
Wow.
Love that. He's already volunteering someplace. He's doing good for this lady personally. Like, that's an ordinary angel. That's exactly what this movie is and what we're looking for you as to nominate.
Right, exactly. And maybe you know someone, maybe you know a Danny in your own life and you would like to nominate them. You can when you text the word angel, ANGEL, to 91979. We'll send you a link. That's angel to 91979, or you can go to wayfm.com.
And the cool thing is Wendy, because she nominated Danny, is going to pick up 4 tickets to go see the movie Ordinary Angel in theaters February 23rd. And Danny is now in the running for a $2,500 Visa gift card just for doing what he does all the time. He could be our grand prize winner.
And it just sounds like Danny, that if he was the grand prize winner, he would use that to spend on someone else.
He probably would.
Classic Danny.
Classic Angel Danny. That's right. So if you want to get somebody in that's made a difference in your life, we'd love to hear the story. Again, just text the word angel to 91979 or go to wayfm.com.
Well, that's the end, but it doesn't have to be. Check out our Aftercast. It's new stuff you didn't hear in the podcast. Be sure to rate us on iTunes as well as connect with us on social media. Just search Wally Show. And if you'd like to join our Facebook group made exclusively for you potties, the link is in the description of this podcast. Thanks to Colorado Christian University Online for supporting what we do.